was told to deliver this message. I was told to deliver this message. I was told to deliver this message.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to Nation Town TV Live. It's your brother, as always, Brother Landon X, with this beautiful person right here. Again, I keep forgetting her name. What's your name, dear sister?
Sister Shauna Joy.
Sister Shauna Joy. Oh, that's my wife, by the way. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, let me start off in the proper fashion. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. I further bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, to be right and exact, and he is also the exalted Christ, if you understand. And I thank both of them for preparing a divine leader, teacher, and guide in our midst. I'm speaking of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and in those three great names, I greet all of you, all 50,000 of y'all watching right now. In the words of peace, we said in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Well, dear family, as we promised last week, we are back in the building, and we have a special, fantastic guest this week. We always do. I mean, as long as this sister is here, or my big head self is here, that's most honorable Elijah Muhammad said every time he looking at the black man, he looking at God. So I guess, something like that. All praise is due to Allah. Well, we dealing with a couple of hard-hitting topics, dear brothers and sisters. First of all, as always, we deal with the Final Call cover story, which is dealing with no free speech, or no right to free speech, dealing with the issue that came about not just recently. It's actually something that's been going on for about 50 years since the start of the so-called Israeli state that was that was commandeered from the great people of Palestine. And ever since then, there's been an issue with anti-Semitism and people not being able to speak freely. You can speak freely about anything. You can speak freely about America. You can speak freely about any other nation. You can speak freely about the government. But for some reason, there's one type of person and one faction that you can't speak freely of. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I'll let this young lady also introduce herself.
Assalamu alaikum. As my husband greeted you all in the greeting words of peace, again, I would like to greet the beautiful viewing body in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. But first and foremost, as my husband opened up, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us, the black man and woman of America, in the person of Master Father Muhammad. I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his exalted Christ, the messenger of Allah, the first begotten of the dead. And I bear witness as well that the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine teacher, warner, servant, student, guide, torchlight, everything in our midst today. So it is in their righteous names that I greet you all again with the greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Well, since she had that long salutation, dear brothers and sisters, that's it. We ran out of time. We leave you as we... No, I'm just playing. Well, we're going to get into this topic because we got to make room for our fantastic guest that's going to come in. And when that person comes in, we definitely going to give them the mantle and let them speak to the people on a very important topic. But first and foremost, we're going to run through this final call cover story. Keep in mind, we only give you a taste of this final call cover story because if you want more, you got to actually get it. You know, like that old commercial used to come on BET. Oh, no, my brother, you got to get your own. So make sure you get your copy of the Final Call News. That's the #1 news not controlled by the Jews. But the cover story deals with no right to free speech. So I'm going to read an opening snippet, if I may. It's set in Washington, D.C., of course. Since she entered Congress in January, Representative out of Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, has enjoyed one of the highest profiles in the freshman class of the 116th Congress, a Somali American who happens to be Muslim. All praises due to Allah. She's attracted attention as much for being one of the first Muslims voted to Congress as for her outspokenness and willingness to shake up the establishment. Twice in 1 month, her comments about the power and influence of the American Public Affairs Committee, also known as AIPAC, and recent tweets and a comment during a town hall meeting created a firestorm and condemnation from congressional politicians on both sides of the aisle. Wow, both sides of the aisle. Now, usually with every topic, you got the Democratic aspect and you got the Republican aspect, but this particular topic, speaking the truth about the so-called state of Israel, and their influence over the American government, that gets people on both sides of the aisle involved, and they always take the side of Israel. AIPAC is one of the most powerful organizations in America, and I think we kind of touched on this last week, that every time someone wants to run for nationwide office, particularly, but really any office, but especially Congress, Senate, and especially president, they have to kiss the ring, the AIPAC ring. They have to kiss the ADL ring. They have to go to these powerful but wicked so-called Jews and basically tell them, hey, I'm all for Israel. I don't even recognize Palestine ever existed. Please, allow me to be your congressman. Allow me to be, not even their congressman, because Israel is not a part of America. But for some reason, we're shooting $4 billion a year. $4 billion of your tax money to them. $4 billion. Now, if there was any other issue of money going towards someone or some country or some organization, for example, in the early 1990s, there was a situation where, well, not even a situation, it was a beautiful development going on, despite the fact that there was a crack epidemic in the streets. We called the dope busters. The dope busters were members of the Nation of Islam who went to some of the toughest so-called projects in places like Washington, D.C., Chicago, even New York, but particularly in the Washington, D.C. area. And they, without weapons, almost single-handedly shut down the crack trade, shut down the crack epidemic. And this was in the heart, this is the early 90s, so this is the heart of the crack epidemic. This is when it was really, really cracking, pun intended. And it was a situation where not only did they make an impact, but they were so impactful that the administration of the public housing in those areas began to pay them, began to give them funds so that the brothers that were out there, members of the Nation of Islam, mighty FOI, so they would at least have some pocket change for the work that they were doing. This is something that the FOI does, on our own time anyway for free. But they wanted to make sure that it was organized and that it was consistent because they was having such an impact. You all of a sudden had picnics, even though we don't call them picnics, but you had barbecues, you had little black girls in the ghetto having lemonade stands, things that you could never dream of in these projects before. But when word got out that they were receiving government funds, the government went crazy. And they had a congressional committee that almost immediately shut it down. And there was also something recently that was similar where you had a situation where it was found out that in our prisons here in the United States of America, the wilderness of North America, the FOI is very prevalent with our prison ministry. And they found out that just like Catholic priests and everybody else who have a prison ministry, You had ministers from the Nation of Islam going inside, and by them going inside, they were getting the same stipend, and some of them were getting stipends, some of them were getting any of the funds that may be available in whatever state that any other religious body could get, and they immediately reported that and got that shut down. So whenever an organization is getting money from the government and they feel like they shouldn't, for any reason, that automatically gets shut down. But for some reason, the four. Nah, just bring them in the other side, brother. Just bring them through. Yeah. So I'm like, we got that special guest rolling through.
High security.
Yeah, high security. But yeah. So it's funny that they don't deal with that. We about to get this special guest in the building real quick. But it's interesting that they don't deal with it like that. But before we move on to our next topic, I do want to play a couple of videos because our sister Ilhan Omar, she ain't no Keith Ellison. She's a real Muslim, and not only that, but I think she got a message to the black man somewhere in her house, because I'm gonna play a little snippet of what she said when they were trying to press her over a comment that she said about Barack Obama, comparing him to Donald Trump. But listen to what she says at the end. Listen to what she says, because she's already been very critical of Barack Obama. She called him a pretty face who got away with murder. But listen to what she says at the end of this snippet.
Set the record straight when it comes to the political interview. I just want to get your side of the story. Do you believe that Trump and Obama are the same, just different when it comes to their policies?
I'm going to pause it right there. The question that they just had, in case you couldn't hear it, is do you think President Trump and Barack Obama are the same? This is what they're asking us. She tried to ignore it. She's trying to just walk down. She's trying to just walk down and ignore this reporter. But listen to what she said. They got on her nerves. She couldn't just let it slide no more. She went ahead and answered.
We understand that you refute this political story. Could you just set the record straight so we get your side of it? Do you think that President Obama is the same as President Trump?
Absolutely not. That is silly to even think and equate the two. One is human, the other is
Is it true that
Oh, let's run that back. Run that back. Pay attention.
to even think and equate the two. One is human, the other is
is it true that you just
She said one is human, one is not. That sounds like the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She said one, even though she's very critical of Barack Obama, and she should be, she said one is human, one is not. And as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, there's a difference between human and humankind. And then I'm going to hear from our Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and what he had to say about our beautiful sister.
think that he's more
102 women in Congress. Boy, am I happy. But Miss Omar from Somalia, she started talking about the Benjamins. And they trying to make her apologize. I said, sweetheart, don't do that.
That's right. That's the minister giving her that wise guidance. Don't apologize. And I really hope that this sister sticks and remains steadfast, because she's starting off strong. She's a beautiful dichotomy from Keith Ellison. I ain't even going to talk about that, brother. We already dealt with him. But they're in the same state. They represent the same state. But she's a real Muslim. She's a real one. And I appreciate her steadfastness. And let's pray that she continues to represent, our people as she has been doing. And dear sister, before we move on to the next topic, what do you have to say about our hard driving sister, Rep. Omar?
You know what, it's really beautiful and it's really refreshing. This is a sight to see with so many women that are now on the political stage. Now don't get me wrong, I still do not put any stock into this system. However, this is a beautiful thing to see, because men have run the world ragged. And now we know, and we're taught in the Nation of Islam, that a nation can rise no higher than its women. So the women are at the forefront so that the world can be able to see what we have to offer, okay? Now, I'm so blessed and honored to see a strong black Muslim woman holding her ground against the synagogue of Satan. And anytime you have not even just a woman, but anytime you have anyone, a person that has the same enemies of Jesus Christ, that have the same enemies of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, then that lets you know right there that you're on the right track. You know, Matthew 5:11 in the Bible, myself paraphrasing, Jesus said himself, well, I'm gonna give you the exact, Jesus said, blessed are those who are blessed and rejoice. For those who are, I lost it. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. And he said, be exceedingly glad, not just glad. So sister, be glad, because this lets you know that you are on the right track. And there was an Israeli, a Jewish congresswoman. She was this woman was the former Israeli Minister of Education, Shulamit Aloni.
Right.
And she said, these are her own words, and she's an Israeli Jewish political, Israeli Jewish woman. She said that anti-Semitism card, we use the anti-Semitism card as a trick. It's used to shut down criticism of Israeli policy.
Wow.
Basically, she is admitting that they're using this as an emotional tug at your heartstrings. They're tossing the Holocaust in your face just to get you to discard logic.
Yes,
and say, okay, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about the Jews, but you know, we're in a day and an age where the light of understanding is shining upon us, and you can't pull that trick anymore.
That's right. And it seems like every year is a Holocaust movie coming out. It's amazing. And you know, one last thing on our Somali American brothers. When I went to 10-10-15, it's a lot of Somali Americans who work at the airport and who drive the taxis. And when I was on my way, I had my Justice or Else t-shirt on. You know, they saw me with a final call I was reading. I wasn't even in the ranks yet, but they knew who he was. They knew who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was. And one brother, I had like a 40-minute ride to my hotel, man. We had such a beautiful conversation. And he admitted that when he first came here, he was not a big fan of the minister, but that was because he was going off of what people had told him. He said when he started listening to the minister himself, he said, man, I wish we had a Minister Farrakhan in Somalia. That's exactly what he said, man. And that was a beautiful conversation I had with that brother. And I'm telling you, the so-called Orthodox Muslim world is coming around when it comes to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the guy in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was also the Jesus figure in our midst.
Right.
And we might touch on that a little bit more tonight, but without further ado, we're dealing with a fantastic topic, a crucial topic in this hour, really every hour. We're dealing with the revolution of black marriage and how important it is. How important it is for anything else we do as Aboriginal people of this earth, the black, brown, red, even the yellow, whatever we're gonna do from this day forth, we gotta make sure that the nation at home is secured. And so we have a fantastic guest who is much more qualified than I am to speak on this topic. I wanna bring forth our Western Regional Student Minister, Tony Muhammad, ladies and gentlemen. All praises due to Allah.
Right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir.
Chief.
How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling wonderful. Thanking Allah for life.
Praise
I'm
be to
alive and
Allah.
well, Chief.
Yes, sir. Yes,
to
sir.
see you.
All praises due to Allah. Well, dear brother, what we're dealing with is the topic of the revolution of black marriage. And why it's so important, because we talk about other revolutions, you know, separation is definitely the foremost revolution. We talk, you know, in the 60s you had other movements, and we talk about black folks, we need to do this. We start sounding French after a while. We need to do this, we. But what I think we forget about, and you've been teaching hard on this lately at Mosque 27 here at West Point, is the importance of the restrictive law and how it deals with how we conduct ourselves at home. So, dear brother, if you would, give us a little bit as far as how important because at this point you know it, you don't just believe it, you know how important family life of any Aboriginal person, not just in the nation, is in this day and age as we move toward our salvation.
Yes, sir. Wow, that's a big question, dear brother. First, I want to thank you, Brother Landon, and your beautiful wife.
Praise be to Allah.
For your consistency in getting the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, out to those who follow you on social media.
Yes, sir.
That's very important, to have a platform such as this that we can educate and people can get to know us.
Yes, sir.
And so that's all too critical. And and the question that you asked about the importance of family, I'll put it like this. Family, according to the Holy Quran, Allah says marriage is one half of our faith.
Yes, sir.
And if you look at what happened to us as a people when we were brought to these shores of North America, family is very important because our enemy, our oppressors, made sure that he broke up our family.
That's right. That's right.
So he broke the family. He did not allow us to be maintainers of our women, to be maintainers of our children. We were treated like chattel, like animals.
That's right.
Breeding to give him more slaves to work his farms, to work his field. But he, the enemy, I'm saying when I say he never allowed us to express love in a natural way.
Right, right.
See? He forced us to fear him the way we should fear God. And that breaking process, it took him 64 years to break us. And ever since he broke us, it's been perpetual now. And now it's even cellular to the point to where the black man in America has a hard time being the head of household.
Oh, God.
Because our oppressors did a very good job, a thorough job.
Yes, sir. Yes, they did.
See, of breaking up our families.
Yes, sir.
And so whenever a real black man would fall in love with his woman, he would protect her.
Yes, sir.
And when we were slaves, if our slave master raped our wife, there was nothing we could do about it. If we did, we paid a hell of a price.
Yes,
we were either sold or he beat us so profusely that we would never balk at him again. And so therefore, here we are in America. I don't care what. Until I came into the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I have to say to you, dear brother, and I say to the audience that's listening, I wasn't a man. I was a hybrid of a man.
Come on.
But never a man. The black man and woman in America, in my opinion, had not known a real man. We got semblance of men. I'm talking about a man who really knows who he is, knows his real God, knows his true religion, knows his landmass, have a language, have a culture. Now, I know plenty black men who look good in Western culture, but that don't mean they know each other or know themselves. It wasn't until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad became the first begotten of those who slept.
Yes, sir.
So family is all so important to our plight. And as you say, I like the terminology you use about marriage being a revolution.
That's right.
Because in America, we're not marrying, we are just shacking. And so family is also important because God made it that way. Yes. God established family in both Bible and Holy Quran.
That's right.
See? If there's not a woman to help man meet his awesome responsibility to God, then that man is a half of a man. If there's no children to carry on the legacy, to carry on the culture, to carry on the folkways of that particular family, then your family is dead. That's a family that's aimless, that's not going nowhere, and is not doing nothing. So family is the cornerstone. Family is what makes you know who you really are, because families are going to bring out the children, the wife, and circumstances are going to bring out who you really are.
Wow. All
See?
praise is due to
So that's how important family is. Family is important, number one. God said, be fruitful and multiply. Because in every human being, the essence of God is at your core. And every human being has the ability to become one with God. That's the ultimate goal.
Yes, sir.
It's okay to have a great job. It's good to have good money. It's good to be productive. But my God, our job is to find God and become one with him.
That's right. That's right.
See, and that's going to take a lot of pressure. And so therefore, dear brother, without family, we're nothing. So God placed man as the head of household. As long as that man, God is at his head.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if God is at the head of that man, then that woman wouldn't mind submitting to a man that she see is productive and fear God.
That's right.
And use the wisdom of God to cultivate her, her children, and that community.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's how important family is. Yes. And that would be revolutionary when the black man and woman, when the brown man and woman, those people of color whose family was destroyed, it is revolutionary to see us becoming family again.
Praise be to
And that's what I long for, and that's what I hope for our community.
Yes,
because wherever you see a strong family, you'll have a strong nation.
That's right.
Where there is no strong family, you do not have a strong nation. In fact, you have a nation that's going out.
Yes, sir.
If it's not strong.
Yes, sir. And I think that's one of our issues, because we always got to consider the micro and the macro. I mean, if you're building a brick house and all the bricks are brittle, it don't matter what kind of how big the house is or how expensive you think it is. If all of the individual bricks are brittle, then it's gonna fall eventually if you ever stand it up. And so that's one of the reasons why we called it the revolution of marriage, because black marriage, to be specific, because like you said, brother, that's where it has to start. Nation starts at home. It starts with us having strong family, and whatever we produce at home with our families, that's what we're destined to produce outside of that. Well, dear brother, you know we're gonna have questions for you. Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. Well, ladies first, so I'm gonna let my beautiful queen start off with her question. Hopefully it's not too long-winded. No, I'm just playing. All praises due to Allah.
Yes, we do have a question from a sister in the ranks. She's a processing sister in the ranks, and she has a question in regards to courtship. She says, well, one of her questions is, what is the recommended time to really get to know someone during courtship?
What is the recommended time to get to know someone during courtship? Well, that number varies. It depends on the maturity of both of the individuals.
That's right.
You know, there is no set time, because again, in the courtship, that's in the court. That don't tell you who you might be marrying or may not be marrying. And so once you know what's important to you as a brother or a sister, and once you get your questions answered, and or as long as this brother is doing what he say, here's what I say for those in the nation. Check a brother's records out.
Yes,
See?
Sir. Yes, sir.
A man can say, I love God. A man can say, I love the Nation of Islam, or I love Minister Farrakhan. Well, then go to the Secretary Department and find out what is his true record of his love for God.
Come on now.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
I'm not talking about in the terms of amounts of money. I'm talking about his consistency in terms of his love. If a man won't give in charity, he ain't gonna pay bills.
Come on. Come on.
If a man won't come to the mosque, he ain't gonna come home. If a man won't go to church, don't expect him to come home. If a man is not dutiful to the God that he say he served, if you don't see that man praying, you in trouble.
Come on.
If you don't see that man submitting, you in trouble. If you don't see that man obeying God, you in trouble. And so therefore, you have to know the kind of questions you want, and then you got to know yourself. So don't court someone and you haven't gotten a thorough knowledge of who you are.
Come on.
What your fears are. Because some pretender can come and sound good and come and look good, but yet you're not rooted enough in yourself as a female, then you'll follow any old piper that
Man,
comes by.
come on, brother minister.
See? And so you as a female have to make sure that you are one with God. You have to make sure, what are the make or break? If you see a man doing something, what's your make or break points? Then when he break it, are you going to try to rationalize that and say, well, I'll let that slide, or did God show you? So it varies, dear sisters. I tell people don't be, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, take as long as it takes.
Yes, sir.
Court as long as it takes, as long as you don't exceed the limit.
That's right.
And if you know the restrictive laws of Islam, you stay within those laws. If you know that you shouldn't be going out with a man alone, you should have a chaperone, try to do that. Because we trust you, we just don't trust biology. And so therefore,
Yes, sir.
I'll say to any sister, as I would say to my daughter, sweetie, do you know who you are? Are you firmly rooted?
Good teaching.
Or do you follow trends? 1 year you're this kind of woman, and the next year you're that kind of woman. Who are you?
Yes, sir.
See, so if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know the kind of man you are looking for, then you're in trouble anyway. Some people I've seen that get married in 90 days, and their marriage has last years. I've seen people court for a year or two, and their marriage lasts 6 months.
Wow. Come on.
See? So when that happens, that tells me one of the two, or if not both of them, was not rooted enough in their faith.
Yes, sir.
So I'll say it like this. The Holy Quran, no Muslim get married without reading the Holy Quran chapter 4, verse 1. O people,
Come on.
keep your duty to your Lord first, of whom you will demand one another your rights. See? So if I'm courting a brother and I don't know he's dutiful to the moms, I don't want to know. Well, then that's going to be a problem.
Yes, sir. All praise.
That's going to be a problem. So anyway, it depends, dear sister. Take your time, but just don't take too long.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now I got my own long-winded question of my own, and this is the question. This is a personal question that I wanted to hear from my brother. But before I ask it, I'm just gonna bring a picture back up. That's our beloved Western Regional Student Minister with his fantastic wife, Sister Latanya Muhammad, and Savior's Day, I believe. This past Savior's Day, that's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Dear brother, it's a two-pronged question. One, if you don't mind letting the people know how long you've been married. And then two, me and my wife, we've been married going on 2 years, about 1.5 years to be exact.
Yeah.
If you had a chance,
Striking a little balance, huh?
yes sir, if you had a chance, dear brother minister, to talk to the newlywed Tony Muhammad, or Tony X, possibly. If you had a chance to have a conversation with the newlywed Tony X, what would you say to him in a nutshell, besides cussing him out? What would you say to that brother if you had a chance to have about a 10-minute or even however long phone call you could have with that brother about 1 to 2 years into your marriage with Sister Latanya?
Well, you mean based on what I know now?
Exactly, yes sir.
Well, here's what I would have said. be balanced.
Mm.
And
take notes.
do not use the teachings because you got a hidden agenda to be great or to be somebody in the nation. And then you kind of let your family go by the wayside. Wow. Under the auspices is about nation. Even though I got married, I was still more nation than I was family. Until I ran into the minister. He was giving a lecture to his ministers at a dinner table. And he was talking about his own, that we're ego-starved.
That's right.
We're born to be great, and in a world like this, the black man don't get too many kudos. You don't get nobody telling you you're great. I didn't have a father showing me the kind of love. So he said he wished he would have been more balanced. Then he said, he asked a question. All of you who are ministers, what is your first assignment? We said, love Allah, brother minister, and lift the nation. He said, no, brother. You love Allah and you lift your family.
Yes, sir.
He said, nation is third. It's God, family, then your assignment. I had it backwards. I had a God, assignment, and maybe family.
Wow. Yes, sir.
That's what I would go back and say, young fella, you're going to be great. Don't think you're going to lose nothing.
That's right.
And when my wife would say we need this or need that, my only thing was I'm pushing nation. You married a brother who I'm all about the mosque.
Go ahead. Yes,
You
sir.
see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's the only thing I would just change and say be balanced.
Yes.
Strike a balance. And so now you and my beautiful sister Shauna, this is your second year.
Praise be to Allah.
See, the first year of marriage, for me,
Yes, sir.
it is the year of communication. You learn how to communicate in that first year.
Yes, sir.
See, and that communication comes on 3 levels. You learn to communicate spiritually, mentally, and physically. You're going to learn what certain expressions of each other mean.
Yes, sir.
When a head leans a certain way, ain't nobody got to
Oh,
talk.
that part.
See?
That part.
And the first year, you tend to be a little selfish because all your life it's been you. Now you're sharing your space, you're sharing your time, you're sharing your energy. If you're sitting there quiet, now you got to answer someone. They say, what are you thinking about? When you used to didn't have to do that. So the second year, because the both of you are pulling on each other, you strike more balance.
Yes, sir.
You see, you become more lenient toward one another.
Yes, sir.
See, and the third year, you become one.
Man. Oh,
But you got to get through those first 3 years.
Yes,
and if you get to 5, you justify why y'all found each other.
5. Okay. Yes, sir.
And 7, you have to recourt again. Because every 7 years, you got new skin, new bone, new everything gets new. And so therefore, your whole, everything changes, Even your color, your favorite color may change to another color. So every 7 years, you have to court again.
Man, come on.
Get to know each other again. Never stop courting. Never stop mining out of each other. Never get complacent with one another because your mind is ever evolving.
Yes, sir.
So the only thing I would have struck is more balance, dear brother, because there are times where I could have did more with my family and I wasn't doing nothing at the mosque. I just was at the mosque.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praise due to Allah. Man, listen, y'all getting some, this, people pay top dollar for this kind of guidance, dear brothers and sisters. So, sister, if you can, drop that Savior's Day link. So, so if you appreciate this information, please, support the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he's the brother that taught this brother, and he's the brother that's teaching me. He's teaching all of us if we listen, if we pay attention. But man, this is top-notch information. And as you heard with my wife, She read a question that was directly out of the comments from a sister who had a question about courtship. If you have any questions about courtship, marriage, and just the importance of family amongst Aboriginal people in general, but even specifically the nation, definitely hit us up in the comments. Maybe my wife will see it, bring it to our attention. And Sister Shauna, do you have another question for the beloved?
Yes, and it's beautiful. You already kind of touched on the question that I'm going to ask, and it deals with communication. You spoke about the importance of communication and the levels to it. And we're taught that 90% of the problems, the issue, when you see divorce, when you see conflict in relationships, is due to bad or lack of communication. My question is, when you have that lapse in communication, there's an argument, a disagreement, how do you get back on track and get back to a good, comfortable space where you're both one, you're balanced, and there's peace and there's harmony again, without one or the other, both walking around, still upset, human, hot, and heated.
Thank you. Well, sometimes to me, that's a matter of maybe 2 or 3 different things. Certainly, brothers and sisters, I'm not the best knower. I can only give you my experience, and out of the hundreds, if not thousands, of counseling sessions that I have had,
yes, sir.
Here's what I fundamentally see. A newlywed couple tends to take a long time to bounce back from anger. Because you're new.
Yes, sir.
So you're still a little nervous. And you are the sum total also of all of your prior good and or bad relationships. So you bring to this endeavor luggage or baggage. And as you know, if you suffered some emotional injury in marriages, not marriages, but even girlfriend and boyfriend relationships before those two people come together, oftentimes your partner can re-stimulate things that someone else did that ill affect you, and all of a sudden the one you with now is paying for that pain. So I've also seen couples who've been together for a while. They tend to bounce back a little quicker. Because I know him, I know her, and I know oftentimes you didn't mean to upset me, or my recovery time, because we've been through that, tends to be a little bit sooner. It just depends on what the situation was. What are you angry about? See, the Holy Quran says to us, that when you're angry, when you're very, very angry, it's hard to get honest answers. And sometimes I watch couples try to force a conversation at the height of being angry, and that's not the best time.
Good teaching.
Here, 2 people angry, heightened anger. Who's listening?
Nobody.
You are mentally fighting. So therefore, I'm just waiting on you to finish saying what you think gonna hurt me, so I can say what I'm gonna say to hurt you.
Man.
See, that's fighting. The Holy Quran said, take 3 days, calm down first. Because when you're at the height of anger, you're punch drunk. So you'll say things that you'll regret.
Yes, sir.
See, so I learned over time, sweetie, now ain't the time. But we gotta talk. I'm telling you, you're not gonna get the best results out of me. Well, why not? I'm too angry to talk about it.
Right.
See, even in the Holy Quran, God gives the devil a time and a provision.
Wow. Come on, brothers and sisters.
See, so sometimes bad emotions have the same effect as being drunk on alcohol. So calm down. See, because the question becomes that I say to couple, are you trying to beat him or her down, or are you trying to win? See? And if you're trying to win, then you have to do what the Quran says. After mercy and beneficence, the oft-repeated phrase is patience.
Yes, sir.
patience. If I'm gonna be with you forever, okay, waiting 24 hours, what is that?
Man, good teaching.
In the scheme of forever, or in the scheme of 25 years, what is 24 hours? Give me to tomorrow, sweetie. Because you're not going to get the best result. Oh, we got to talk about it now. Okay, since you forcing it, then I'm letting you know what's going to come out of me you might not like. And so, you know, I hope that makes sense. It just depends.
Man, that made perfect
You know, it depends sometimes. If it's newlyweds, if they've been married 5 years. I've watched people, most people that gets past 7 years, they recover quicker in terms of arguments.
Yes, sir.
Them first 3 to 4 years, oh my God. You know, you're still trying to trust this person.
I'll bear witness.
You're still a little nervous. See? You're still a little nervous about yourself. And so, patience. Patience is such a virtue. And I'm saying this for the record. I'll say this to anybody. If you can avoid trying to give answers when you're at the heat of anger, always wait till you calm down, because you'll make more sense and you'll handle it better.
That's right.
See? And so that's my advice for anybody that's having problems with recovery time. That means you're trying to force a circle or a square into a rectangle when you should just wait and be patient.
All praises due to Allah. And as I mentioned before, dear brothers and sisters, you see this wise guidance. If you have any questions, just go ahead and hit it in the comment section. We're gonna have our brother student minister, Western Regional student minister, for a few more minutes. So you better get your questions in. We dealing with the revolution of black marriage and relationships in general. So if you have any question about courtship, marriage, you know, in the world we call it dating, you know, go ahead and hit us up and we'll talk about it a little bit. Now, brother minister, before we get our next audience question, one phenomenon that I'm seeing get worse, especially in this social media age, it's always existed, especially in the last, I guess you could say 30 to 40 years, because it actually started in slavery, but the so-called battle of the sexes, especially amongst black people. Black women expressing their pain, and a lot of these stories like R. Kelly, you know, Bill Cosby is drumming up in the so-called Me Too movement, is drumming up a lot of pain. What could you say to the brothers and the sisters, because I see brothers participating in this, which I think is really weak. We have instructions here at West Point by our beloved Western Regional student captain, don't ever go back and forth with a sister in public. You know, it's just not a good look for a man. But brother minister, how do you feel about that phenomenon of so-called battle of the sexes, and how can we do better with avoiding it altogether or just handling it better?
Right. Well, number one, you have to know how the devil operates.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You know, and what do I mean? I'm not talking about no spooky devil. I'm not talking about some cat with a pitchfork with red tights on in the ground.
Go ahead.
I'm talking about those who control the media.
Yes, sir.
And I'm talking about those who are constantly trying to control our images and what matters to black people.
Yes, sir.
The devil deals in re-stimulation. I'm gonna say that again.
Yes, sir, please.
The devil deals in anything that will re-stimulate you, because once you're re-stimulated, then you are all in your feelings and all in your emotions, and you never do the right thing most of the time.
Come on.
When you are like that. This Caucasian white man's world, because it ain't a black man's world.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
See, women are definitely in pain. They have a real reality about the pain.
Yes, sir.
The slick part is everybody have to be careful using generalities. Generalities. Because a suppressive personality uses generality. All men, all women. No, stop right there. That's mathematically impossible.
Go ahead.
All men are not bad. All women are not bad. Who's doing the talking then? And if you look at our community, here's an enemy using pain and promoting it through social media and promoting it on TV. You know, the hip hop wives or what do they call that stuff.
Yes,
it's all re-stimulation.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So what woman don't have some emotional pain from a man and vice versa? So when you're looking at that, the devil in you is agreeing with the devil in that particular woman or man based on their pain. So here now, a TV show has gone off and your man just walked through the door and you re-stimulate.
Go ahead. Man.
Because the aspect of the mind works A equals A. All men are the same. See, that's the subconscious. That's the reactive mind. That is that part of that mind that don't rationale right. So, if the devil is dealing in re-stimulation, we just have to be careful. I would never, because the only thing I say to sisters who have been in a tremendous amount of pain, that if you was in charge, be careful that you speak against men to the degree to where you become just like them when you get in power.
Man.
We have condemned the white man so much to where now we are doing to each other what he used to do to us because we've become the very thing we hate. That's why you have to be careful trying to judge. See, I can't judge R. Kelly. I pray for him.
Right.
Because thus by the grace of God, there go I. You know, and so we just have to be careful in the re-stimulation because that's how the devil works start. So if they can keep men and women, particularly the black man and woman, at each other's throat.
Yes, sir.
See? Then that's the agenda they push because they never want to see us develop strong families, strong relationships. Because when you truly love a man and a man loves a woman, you will fight for what you love. You will die for what you love and even kill for what you love.
That's right.
But if this is just have sex and be what you want to be, if this is just to be a free-for-all world with no boundaries, then that's Satan's world.
That's right.
Satan's world is a world without discipline. It is a world without law. It is a world where I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. I don't care what God or nobody think. Well, I don't even want a person like that because that person already let me know that you are the son or the daughter of Satan.
Go ahead.
So we have to be careful in re-stimulation.
Yes,
because that's the devil's detail. He wants you to be re-stimulated. And he wants us to say everybody, all men are bad. That is not true. All women are bad. Mathematically impossible.
Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. The devil deals in re-stimulation. Remember that. Remember that part.
Right.
Sister Shauna, do we have another question?
Yes, sir. We do
All
have
praise
a
due
question.
to Allah.
We have Brother Michael X. Vincent. His question is, Mother Tynetta said that two will be walking side by side. One will hear a ring in their ear giving instructions, and the other will not hear. In the Bible, it says two will be laying in the bed. One will be left, one will be taken. Two grinding at the mill, one taken, one left. I heard the minister say all of us are in the same work, but we all don't have the same heart. How do we make sure, if at all possible, that both of us make it in this hour till the end, unless Allah God calls us back? Has the minister spoken this in reference to making sure me and my queen make it versus one of us taken and the other left? Wow.
Well, I don't have the answer. I'll give you my opinion. In the Holy Quran, Allah says, "O people, keep your duty to your Lord." Because I don't know who is to judge that other than Allah. Then the Holy Quran says, on that day, there will be your book spread before you.
Come on.
See? Your book of deeds will be spread before you. Then he said, to he whom I hand the book to into your left hand. See, only thing I try to encourage my wife is keep your duty, not to me. Because if you keep your duty to your Lord, I'm included in that.
Go ahead.
I'm just not first.
Facts. Facts.
See? And I say to her, your assignment is make sure I keep my duty to him first, not to you. See? And if you are doing that, that don't mean now you may you may hit all your milestones, but only Allah know your heart.
That's right.
Here in the Holy Quran, Allah was talking to Muhammad. May the peace and blessings be upon Muhammad. Muhammad had all these people around him. He didn't even realize many of them was hypocrites. Allah said, you don't know Muhammad. Their person pleases you. So all I would say to anyone, pray that Allah will take both of you. Pray that you both will make it. But most couples, I could say in the nation, or if you're a good, strong Christian couple, you know the duty of one another if you are in the same house. You know to what level your wife or husband is performing their duty to God. See? And so, therefore, if you even have to ask the question, it kind of scares me.
That's right.
Unless you're asking the question because you're trying to help somebody else.
Right.
But the Holy Quran and the Bible spells out how to be in favor to God. And when you find out what those prerequisites are, then that's the litmus test through which she should measure you and you should measure her. Not from Love and Hip Hop. You can't measure your significant other
Come on, brother.
from Robert or Shaniqua and them.
Exactly.
It's got to be from Allah, from God. What does God say? Because God has, since he is our creator, he also wrote the manual on how to handle what he created. See? Allah tells the woman and the man in the Quran, he gives you the advantage and the disadvantage. He tells you what the woman needs, and he tells you what the man needs. If the man is with me, he's gonna need this. See? In you, sister, he should find a quieter mind. And in her, brother, you gotta constantly make her to feel secure because she's naturally made to feel insecure. See, when you know these details, you can't go home and say, what's wrong with you? She's insecure. You should know. Her insecure batteries is low.
Go ahead.
Then come with some flowers.
Good teaching.
Come with some trinkets.
Yes, sir.
You didn't notice she put on makeup when she normally or did herself, and she normally don't do it like that at home. You didn't notice she was pretty for you, and you just went, sit down and turned on the TV. See? So, I hope that makes some sense, but
Yes, sir.
it's the prerequisite on who will make it and who might not make it is right there in the Bible and in the Quran.
Yes, sir. Do we have another question, dear sister?
Yes, I
We on the
have
roll,
a
man.
question. We had a beautiful teaching from student minister, Brother Nuri, and one of the things that he taught on in regards to the men and women, and like you spoke of, what we need from each other, he said that a man needs respect. A sister should show her husband the respect. And when we're living in a world, like you said, a woman is insecure in this world, and men, black men, are not respected in this world. So how do we as women give our men, give our husbands the respect that they deserve in a world that teaches us to beat them down, and that everything we see re-stimulates the disrespect that we've received and makes us want to push that back on the man in our home?
Yeah. I said like this. And I know my brother didn't mean it like this, but I don't believe no one should blanketly respect somebody because they are of a gender. Respect is earned.
Go ahead.
Now, particularly if the man believes and the woman believes. Now, if I got two believers, there's a certain way I'll teach that. If I got two disbelievers who are into the world of love and hip hop, they're hard to lead in the right direction. But if I have two believers, and if I see a woman disrespecting a man, I have to ask the question, is he producing? See?
Good question.
Because if a man is producing the way God says for him to produce, a woman's nature can't help herself.
Go ahead.
I ain't never seen a woman disrespect Brother Farrakhan.
Come on, come on.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And to be honest, wow, I can't even think of a time my wife have disrespected me.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
I'm a go-getter. I produce.
Go ahead, go ahead.
See? And I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about money. I'm not talking about paying the bills. That's on one, that's the cheap level.
Go ahead.
I'm talking about produce in such a way where her mind and my mind can grow. Where I'm not suppressing her thoughts. I'm not suppressing her wisdom. I'm not suppressing her opinions. Her opinions matter to everything I do, even my subject matter. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes, brothers, we think, I'm making the money, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You should respect me. No, that other man is not looking for respect. That's a man that's looking for worship.
Wow.
We all have to be careful of wanting to be worshiped, male and female.
That's right.
Because sometimes a woman will fix herself up. Because if you look at the millennial world, is a world of worship me.
That part. Social media.
Because it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's all about me.
Go ahead.
Because that's a part of God that he shares with the human being, because God likes to be known.
Come on, man.
See? So, again, when I see one who are believers struggling with the whole respect thing, it could be that the sister is in so much pain from past relationships, and she may be in the company of other women with pain to where she don't feel she should respect the man because she's in a disrespect circle.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And vice versa.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely
Same
right.
thing with the brother.
Yes,
the
sir.
brother is in a worship me and not follow me.
Man.
See? And so I hope that made a little sense. But I don't believe a woman should respect a man just to respect him.
Right.
She should respect the man that's hitting every milestone that the two of them have agreed. Here's the problem I find with most couples. Most couples, when I ask them the question, what is God's intentions for marriage? What is his goal? Then if you don't know what God's goal is for you marrying a man or a man marrying a woman, then you need a tune-up. Then you have a marriage without aim, without purpose. It's just a biological and emotional arrangement.
Yes, sir.
See?
Yes, sir.
Most couples, what are your goals? You have to have agreement. What do you agree on? What is your 3-year plan? What is your plan spiritually? Because we all need to spiritually grow. What is my husband or my wife's spiritual weaknesses? What is my husband or my wife's mental weaknesses? What is my husband or my wife's financial weaknesses? Then, in the overall scheme, what is our plan? When are we going to have children? What year? For what reason?
Come on.
There's no agreement. So God said, wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name in agreement.
In agreement.
See, we leave the agreement part out.
That's right. That's right.
What is the agreement? Most people are winging it in their marriages. You have to write down, it's got to be a known goal that both agree on.
Yes, sir.
Because marriage is a business arrangement as well.
That's right.
Marriage is a governmental arrangement. In your marriage, that's a government going on.
Yes, sir.
See, in your house, that's your nation.
Go ahead.
And if the man is the head of household, you the president, the wife is the vice president, and if there's children, she the joint chiefs of staff.
Go ahead. That's right. Yes, sir.
So if you're doing the right thing by her, she gonna do the right thing by the children. And when you come in the house, the children are gonna run to you. If they don't, there's a problem.
Yes, sir.
See? So oftentimes when I see a problem in the marriages, I always give them my marital diagnostic and say, tune yourself up to this diagnostic.
Yes, sir.
Because the minister said to me, brother, whenever you see a husband and wife, by the time they get to you, they may be at each other's throat, but the root of that, one or the both of them are deviating in their religion.
Come on.
So check to make sure they still believe the same. Then after that, do they pray together? Do she witness him studying? Do he witness her studying? See? So you hit all of those milestones to tune up, because I'm not going to deal with what you here for. He touched me or he pushed me. See, that ain't where the problem is. The problem is way back at the root, where that, when he stopped coming to the mosque, or when he stopped praying, or...
Yes, sir. Wow. All praises due to Allah.
So I'll give you all my diagnostic, and most of the people, when they come to me for counseling, when they fill out the diagnostic, by the time they finish filling out the marital diagnostic, they done solved their problem.
That part. Praise be to Allah.
You know, we get to the part, what do you all do? Do you ever do anything social?
Good point. Yes, sir. Yes.
So it's a lot, dear brother. So,
Man, that's beautiful, man. Dear brothers and sisters, inshallah, we'll get an opportunity to do this again. What you think, Brother Minister?
man, be my pleasure. At least
All
once a
praises
month.
due
I gotta
to
try
Allah.
to make it by.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got to get to our self-improvement, which is basically what we've been talking about this whole time. Self-improvement is the basis of community development. If you're on the West Coast, go to your local mosque or study group, Muhammad Mosque, a study group, and join your self-improvement study group. If you're on the East Coast, you're probably in the middle of it right now. Midwest, you're probably on your way or already in the middle of it. But all praises due to Allah. We will be back, inshallah, next Friday with another episode of Nation Town TV. I want to thank our dear brother minister, Tony Muhammad. This brother, and I want y'all to realize.
Hold on. It's
Yes,
about
sir.
time for you two to come in for a tune-up, man.
Yes, sir. He got me. He got me, y'all. He got me. Yes,
Year and a
sir.
half? Yeah, it's time for
It's
y'all to
that
come
time.
in
It's
and
that
need to
time.
have a talk.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
because
sir.
I want to see, you know, where you all financially. You know, we gotta make sure that you're hitting all your milestones.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
so that you don't make some of the mistakes I made.
Yes, sir.
You know. So I look forward to it, man. Thank you, Brother Landon, for allowing
Thank
me
you,
to come
brother.
on. Sister Shana, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for the balance that you bring to the endeavor.
Yes, sir.
And may Allah bless us.
Yes, sir. Well, with that said, dear brothers and sisters, we're going to leave you as we greeted you in the words of peace. Go to your study group tonight. Nation of Islam, registered or unregistered, it don't matter. It don't matter what you look like, what you dress like. Come to your study group tonight. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, come see this brother. He almost every Sunday. I don't think you'll be teaching this Sunday.
Yes, sir.
You'll be teaching that.
Be here.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. 8701 South Vermont. I can't call him what the minister called him, though, boy. He put me on a moratorium. but in my humble opinion, this is as good as it gets. You know, when it comes to student ministers, students of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, come and see him in your city. If you're not in Los Angeles, inshallah, we'll be broadcasting on Nation Town TV. And once again, I want to thank all the guests, man. I see y'all on fire, man. This is one of our most viewers ever. Praise be to Allah. So next week, we're going to do it again, and I can't wait to get our brother back on the show again. And just thank you for the participation. May Allah, you know, guide all of you. And again, leave you as we greeted you in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Like,